Let's start over in this corner, starting with this lamp right here. So this was actually my grandma's lamp. And then she ended up giving it to my parents. I don't even know if they ever put it out or if they just had it like in storage. And then they ended up giving it to my fiance when he lived in his apartment. And now we have it in our house. So this was my grandma's lamp. I don't know when she got it, how long she had it, or anything like that. I just remember that it was in her bedroom when I was younger. It's so pretty. I think the colors work so well with my style, and the stained glass is cool, and I just love it so much. So thank you, Grandma. And then right next to it is this scroll that was actually in my fiance's apartment when we first met, and it was his mom's before that. So far, the first two things were things that I just basically inherited because we were lucky to have family members who had these amazing items. So sometimes you get that lucky, oftentimes you don't. So although some items we have in the house were handed down through different generations, a lot of the things that we have that are secondhand were just found at the thrift store. So not really remaining in the family, but let's go on to the next thing. So one item that I love to thrift is frames or other items you can hang on the wall or incorporate into gallery walls. For example, these two frames were thrifted, and this candle sconce, the pair, I found at the thrift store. So I love that you can get a really eclectic look by mixing different vintage frames, thrifted frames, etc., and other objects that aren't just frames. It's one of my favorite things to add to the gallery wall. Now over here, I have this entertainment center TV stand. This was given to me by my aunt. It's from Crate and Barrel originally, so it's not vintage. It's actually probably only about 10 to 15 years old at this point. And I'm pretty sure they still sell something very similar. I love it. It has all the storage we need. It's super high quality. So when my aunt moved, she ended up giving me this, and I was very, very grateful, thankful, lucky to have gotten this for free. So thank you very much. I love the dark wood tones. You have a mix between like these lighter wood tones and then this rich dark wood tones. And I love how it looks with the lamp and the scroll along with our gallery wall. I think that this whole corner kind of makes the living room. There's not really much else styled or going on in here yet. And then while I'm over here, I'll show you this little vase, and I'm just using it for all of our candle accessories that we use in the living room. I just love the textured glass of it, and it's the perfect size. This I got from Dune, which is one of my favorite local stores, and they have a mix between new items and vintage items. This was obviously one of their vintage items, and this was on sale when I purchased it. So I think I got this for maybe less than $5. I love mixing textured glass into different spaces. Just gives it the look that I'm going for. Let's move on to the next. So next are these curtains, and these are the curtains that we have in our living room. And these were actually also given to me by my aunt. So she had these in her living room for a very long time and brought them to us so we could have them in here. And I think they just look so good. I just can't wait to paint the walls in here and add a little bit more color into the walls. These will just provide the balance that we're looking for. I'm not sure how old these are, and I don't really know much about them, but they're vintage, that's for sure. Now here we are in the laundry room, and I'm showing you one of my very favorite pieces of thrifted furniture. I found this at the thrift store for $20 right around the time where I was finishing up the laundry room. I went there intending to find something to put in this space, and I saw this one and hesitated a little bit, wondering, is it big enough? Is there enough storage? Is it going to look good? And then eventually was like, you know what? It's perfect. I need to buy it. And I'm so glad that I did. So I took it home, clean it, use some feed and wax to make it look a little bit more shined up and new. And then I changed the handles out. They were just the same wood that the dresser is made out of. I just thought that added a little bit of chicness. I thought it looked really, really good in this space. And I just love this. It's a vintage washstand. It came with like a little piece on top, like, you know, that the washstands would normally have. And it's just the perfect storage solution. I love using pretty pieces of furniture for storage. So it adds functionality, but it also adds style. It was seriously the finishing touch that I needed, and it pushed this space into the direction that I'm glad that it went, because I was hoping to find something lighter than this, and I'm so glad I went with the dark, rich wood tone. So good. And while we're over here, I'll show you this vase that I also purchased at Dune. This I purchased around December 2021, but it's just this brass vase. I love it so much, and I bought these at Dune too. I think a bird just hit the window. I also bought these dried stems at Dune. Those were not secondhand though. The vase was. The vase was one of their vintage items. Okay, can you see me? The next thing in the laundry room is this light fixture. So I found this on Etsy and ended up changing the base for it just to make it upgraded. It was very inexpensive to buy this, and it fit perfectly. I don't know when it was from. I don't know where it came from, but I purchased it on Etsy. I just knew I wanted something with a little bit of textured glass to it. So next up, we have this whole record setup that I got from my dad. So when he moved, he didn't want to take the whole setup with him. So this, I don't know what year it was from, but he's had these stored in our basement for a very long time before he got back into records and collecting records a few years ago. So when he did, he pulled it out. I'm not sure how old these are, but these are vintage. And then let me show you down here. I have the speakers that he gave me as well. Again, vintage. I know they're super bulky, but they are cool because they have like this faux wood look to them. And while we're here, we can talk about how like probably at least half of these were secondhand, these records. So I love buying records from like that. You can find tons of record shops in any city you go to, really. Now I'm in the bedroom, and there are quite a few of my favorite secondhand items in this room specifically, starting with this dresser that I'm using for my nightstand. I thrifted this at Goodwill a couple months back. I want to say it was about $20. I can't remember exactly. What I want to do to this still is change out the handles. These are really loose and I don't particularly love them, but I really like this. I was looking for something like this for a long time. It having large drawers, it's small enough to be a nightstand, but large enough to have extra storage that a nightstand doesn't always have. And it has tons of space up here so I can put all of my favorite items, including this thrifted clock that I got for $6. I actually found this at a garage sale. We were driving to an area that was having a citywide garage sale, and we stumbled across a sign that said vintage sale. So of course we stopped, and this was what I found there. I think this was my very first haul that I ever posted on YouTube. I thrifted this box. And so this box is nice. I keep it right here so I can put all the things that I need right away in the morning, right there. And it's so cute. It's just wooden, which I love, and it has a cool fabric on top, which I just thought was really unique. And I thought it just fit this so well. And now I will come over here so you can see this chair that I actually just thrifted last week, exactly a week ago. This I got for, I think it was $2.99 or $3.99 from Goodwill. If you've seen my reel or my short, you saw that there actually is some goodies inside of the chair. I'll just insert a clip of the reel so you can see it. At the exact same shopping trip, I had like a textured glass dish. I get those a lot just to put like under plants or whatever, just to use for whatever you need a dish for. But long story short, the dish was like $2.99 or $3.99. And then I picked up the chair. It's like, this is literally the same price as a tiny little piece of glass. Like, I mean, I get it because it's only one. And if they had like a set, maybe it'd be more expensive. It's like, who wants a single chair besides me? No, I know there are other people. I feel like it honestly fits this corner perfectly. And I'll show you the chairs that I have elsewhere. You've probably seen them before. I redid those like years ago, probably 6 to 7, maybe even 8 years ago. And they just don't really suit where we're going here. It does not suit the color palette, doesn't suit like the rich, warm wood tone vibe. So I knew that I wanted a new chair, and then when I found this one, I knew it would be exactly what I was looking for and exactly what I wanted to replace the other ones with. Thought the color was great. It has like a really cool mustard vintage velvet, and then like this really cool detail on the legs. And again, there is storage in the chair, which is always awesome. I can't wait for everything in my house just to be exactly what we want, you know? Okay, now we're moving on to this dresser. I've had this dresser my entire life, and before that, it belonged to my great grandfather. And so I don't know the story before that, or really the story in between. I know that it's very, very old, and I love it very much. And I've had it my whole life. Yeah, like even just like the little detail of this keyhole, just so fun. And the mirror, I've always loved having a mirror in my room because I always get ready in here. So I've always used that. Yeah, this is probably one of the oldest things that I own, actually. Probably not quite as old as the house, but it's hard to say. Because, yeah, I mean, I guess while we're at it, this house has technically been in many hands, and I love the house. So that's probably like one of my favorite secondhand items. While we're over here, I do just want to point out this. I bought this at Dune. They're stackable. So as you can see, the bottom goes in. So when you stack them inside of each other, they stay in place. I love that. And I just recently, if you watched my last video, you saw that I just recently thrifted a smaller version of this. So it just came with two, and they're about half the size, a third of the size. So the perfect size for my hair, earrings, necklaces, and bracelets. I mean, I literally don't have that much jewelry, but it's still perfect for keeping them separate, and it's cute. So this is another item that has been in my family for a long time. I know that my mom remembers when my grandpa got it. She remembers going with him to pick it up from somewhere. So I know that this has been in my family at least within my mom's lifetime, and it belonged to my grandpa. I don't know when my grandpa gave it to my mom, but I know that it's been with us for my whole life. When my parents moved out of their house, this was one of the things that I got to take with me. So it's perfect. It's like a library. What is this called? Secretary something? I don't know. Let me know what this is called if you know. Let me know in the comments down below. So perfect because you can use it for books, or you can use it to display some pretty things. When my mom had it, I remember a long time ago, she had it filled with books. But then more recently, she had like our art from when we were growing up, like when you're in art class and you make little sculptures and whatever else, all the projects they have you do. So she had this filled with that. But now I'm using it for our books and so some display, and then obviously have stuff on top of it as well. And then while we're talking about this display case, I want to talk about my cameras. So this one is new. This one was secondhand, but it's not a vintage camera. I do want to talk about, I do want to talk about this one though. This was my very first instant film camera that I bought, and I got this on Facebook Marketplace. So this is a real vintage Polaroid camera. They still make film for it, and there's 2 pictures left. Actually, I think it's off. I think it's weird. The packs used to be larger. I do love this camera. It's what got me to want to get more instant film cameras. I just think they're so fun how you can literally take a picture and instantly have a physical copy of it. But I bought this on Facebook Marketplace from some cool guy. When I asked him about the camera, he said that it's always been his, so he was the only owner. No one else has had this camera. And so it's always kind of fun when you get something from Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes you do get a little bit more information about where it came from. And so I did get lucky with this, and I did get more information knowing that he was the only owner. But yeah, this just creates the classic square Polaroid photo. And then my other 2 cameras have different types of film. So the small one has mini film, and then the other one is the wide film. I still remember the guy who sold me this because I think he was like part of some like gory magic show or something, or I don't know. He was telling me about it, so I just like still remember that. But thank you for the camera.
It's just the last time I can see you in a while. Is it the truth that you'll be living tonight? We should take a walk, then a swim in the sea.